People, when they go for weight loss to become healthy, I keep telling them that you don't lose weight and become healthy. Let's actually flip this equation. You became healthy and hence you lost some weight. I mean, losing weight is just a byproduct of becoming healthy. If I go a little more nuanced and little more into detail, you actually improved your metabolic parameters and hence you became healthy. After all lifestyle disorders are also known by the name metabolic disorders. I'm talking about diabetes, fatty liver, thyroid disorders, so on and so forth. So this equation that you need to look at is you improved your metabolic parameters and hence you became healthy. Weight loss is just a happy byproduct. So we are not talking about weight loss here. I'm actually talking about fat loss. Again, I would like to go a little more nuanced into this. I'm really talking about improving body composition or body recomposition. What is body recompositioning? Let's first understand what is body composition. Our total body weight, I would broadly divide into 4 categories. First one is the water weight, like our blood, lymph, and other water that is available, seen between our tissues and cells, so on and so forth. Second would be the bone weight, the amount of the bone that we have in our body. Roughly constitutes around 15% of your total body weight. Third would be your fat content. This obviously would vary from person to person. For some people, it might be around 15% body fat. These are the healthy ones. People can go up to even up to 40% body fat. And then the fourth constituent is the muscle mass, right? Now, when I'm talking about muscle, I'm not talking just about those, the skeletal muscles, the muscles that we can move voluntarily. I'm also talking about the other muscles which are organs. For example, heart is a muscle. That's why it's able to pump blood, right? Even the food pipe that actually takes the chewed food from our mouth down to our tummy is also a muscle. The esophagus is actually a muscle. Now, so to sum it up, 4 basic constituents of our body. One would be the water content. Second would be the bone. Third would be the fat. And fourth would be the muscle. Now, when we are wanting to lose weight and become healthy, either you can lose fat or sometimes many people end up losing muscles also. Now, a healthy transformation, the one that I earlier alluded to, would be wherein you actually lose only fat without losing muscles. And I would say a better proposition would be actually you lose fat while you gain muscles. Now, how do we make sure that we are not losing muscles and we are actually gaining muscles? And whatever weight that we are losing is only fat. There are 3 things that you need to do to make sure such a thing happens. Only such a transformation is a healthier transformation. That would be number 1, a sensible calorie deficit. Now, for you to lose weight, you need to be on a calorie deficit. What is calorie deficit? You either have to eat lesser calories than the calories that you spend, or you're spending more calories than what you're eating. One of these 2 would give you a calorie deficit. You will lose weight. On such a calorie deficit, you need to make sure that calorie deficit is controlled and sustained. For example, suppose you are spending 2000 calories in a day for your exercises, for your activity, and for your metabolism. In this example, suppose you are eating only 800 calories. You're sort of crash dieting. You're not eating your dinner, eating only cucumber salad, for example. Crash dieting and eating only 800 calories. The calorie deficit in this example is 1200 calories, a huge calorie deficit. In such a scenario, our body does not have the leeway to tap in only into fat and leave those muscles as it is. It would lay its hands on anything that it can put its hands on. So naturally, body will derive energy from both fat and muscle. The person will end up losing weight, but that would be both fat and muscle. Not healthy at all, right? So a sustained calorie deficit and controlled calorie deficit is required to make sure we lose only fat. How much is that? Around 500 calories deficit. Meaning, if your expense calories is 2000, make sure you eat at least 1500 calories. Have your breakfast, lunch and dinner. Do minor modifications, cut down on unnecessary junk food and unnecessary fat. That itself will give you around 500 calories of deficit. So that's the first thing to make sure you lose only fat, not muscles. The second thing that you need to do to make sure that you're losing only fat is by including adequate amount of protein. Protein, as we all know, is important to maintain muscles. Now, how much protein is that? Again, it varies, but there is a rough calculation. 0.8 grams up to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. For example, if a person is 100 kilograms in weight, This would be minimum 80 grams of protein. That person can go up to around 200 grams of protein in a day. That's the broad guideline. But this 80 to 200 is a very broad number, right? So would you eat 80 or would you have 100 or 120? It's very confusing. Again, it depends. It depends upon gender of a person. A man would need probably higher amount of protein as compared to a woman because their body composition is different, the muscle quantity is different. A person who is physically active naturally need higher amount of protein, right? A person who is younger can have slightly higher amount of protein as compared to an older person. Yet another very important aspect which decides how much protein a person can have are the medical conditions and associated issues. For example, if a person is having uric acid, naturally reduce protein. If a person is diabetic and or related kidney disorders are there, or if the creatinine levels are higher, or if the person has urine albumin, then obviously we need to cut down on protein, otherwise it can be extremely dangerous to the kidney health, right? So there are many such things which decides how much protein should a person be having. Also, if a person who's not been having so much of protein goes ahead and straight away eats around 150 grams of protein in a day, the person might feel extremely constipated, and that might lead to other issues such as piles or fistula, etc. So there is a method of increasing protein. You don't just jump in and increase protein straight away, but this 0.8 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight is a broadly accepted guideline to make sure that we are not losing muscles and we are preserving muscles. So that's the second one. Now, what is the third one? Exercises. Now, if I'm taking a dumbbell and I'm doing a biceps curl, my body knows that, oh, Rajiv is going to use this biceps to do this flexion. So when there is a calorie deficit, let me not use those muscles here. Let me rather tap into the fat around these muscles. So then I will lose only fat and not the muscles. So to sum it up, 3 things that you need to do to make sure that you're losing only fat and not muscles. Number 1, a sustained sensible calorie deficit of not more than 500 calories. Number 2, adequate amount of protein, which varies from person to person. And number 3, some amount of physical exercises, especially some amount of weight training, would make sure that you are not losing muscles and you're losing only fat. Now, such a transformation is what I would call as a body recomposition. And mind you, if you go through such a body recompositioning, if you lose 10 kgs, you will actually look 10 years younger, right? Your metabolic parameters would improve. Now, how do you know that you're losing only fat, not muscles? There are methods to understand that. See, fat as compared to muscle, there is a difference in terms of density. 1 kilogram of fat would roughly occupy 15 to 20% more space than 1 kilogram of muscles. For example, 1 kilogram of muscle is only this much. 1 kilogram of fat will be slightly more in terms of the space that it will occupy. So naturally, for a certain amount of weight that you have lost, are you also losing the specific amount of centimeters, a commensurate centimeter loss around the body? That is how we understand that are you losing fat or muscles. Such a transformation is what will make you look healthier, make you feel younger, and make you look younger as well. So next time when you worry or hear about weight loss, just understand weight loss is not what we want. What we need is body recompositioning. That is what actually leads to better metabolic parameters, improved health, and also in a way reversing your age.